Hey y'all, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you're returning. Hey y'all, I'm so glad y'all are back. I can't wait to show you these little projects that I made today. I made a farmhouse rag wreath, and then I'm calling this my barn lantern. And I styled these in a couple different ways, especially that wreath, because I wanted people to see that just because you make a wreath doesn't mean it has to always be a wreath. You know, crafting is about imagination and creativeness, and you can make it whatever you want. So that's what this video is today. If you like this, please like, share, and subscribe, y'all. It means the world to me. DIY number 1. We're going to start with the rag wreath. And it is a rag wreath, but it's also got some clothespins in it. So I had to pick up my wreath form from Walmart because my Dollar Tree across the road here had 0 wreath forms. Well, they had wreath forms, but they didn't have the metal ones, and that's what, or the wire ones there. That's what I wanted. I use almost a whole pack of clothespins from the Dollar Tree, all but that little bit down there. I use 13 of one color, 12 of another, I believe is how it went. And then I'm going to use these 2 contrasting fabrics, just the buffalo plaid and or gingham, whatever that's called, and some white cotton. I'm just going to go through and paint on I done made a mess, y'all. Look at that. I mean, this is my first clothespin. I done got paint all over me. I'm going to go in and just paint all these black. Like I said, I believe there's 13 of the black ones. I don't know why I'm showing y'all all this. Y'all know how to paint. Oh, it's just when you're editing, it makes it, you got to figure out what you want to keep and what you want to get rid of. And sometimes I overlook things. Now with the white, I figured out a little bit. There's the blacks all painted. With the white, I figured out a little bit better of a way to paint these. I laid them all out and painted them. And I think I did like 2 batches because I think I did 12 of those. Now I'm going to take this gingham fabric and I'm going to cut it. I got it 1 yard. And I cut down about 12 1 to 1.5 inch strips. I just snip it there at the end and then I just tear it down. Because this is a rag wreath and I want some scragglies hanging out, I guess. Y'all, I don't know how in the world it got that fast because I did not do that fast. But what I did was, after I made those strips, I cut them down into 6-inch strips. So now I'm just showing y'all my black clothespins, my white clothespins, my gingham, and my white fabric. Again, this has got a lot of frillies on it, y'all, but that's really what we want because we're doing a rag wreath. So we do go through and give it a haircut later on, but now we're going to take our wreath form, and in each section I do different. For the first section, I do 3 on the end. And then, down there on the other end, I do 3 more. And I'm showing you that little piece there. That's what I'm going by. I butt them right up against that. So, in this first section, there's 3 on one end, 3 on the other end. Now, I'm taking the fabric, and all I'm going to do, y'all, is just a little knot. It's not even really a knot. It's just I don't know what you call it. But I did try to alternate, like if I was going next to a white clothespin, I tried to use my gingham. And then on the black, I tried to use white. And you just go through and you just tie these between there. I can't tell you an exact number because it just all depends on how you tie and how thick you make your strips. So I just went through and tied between those 2 sets of clothespins until it looked good, until I liked the way that the coverage was. And I do a gingham and a white. Lord, I can't even talk again this morning. I don't know how people do 4, 5, 6 voiceovers in a week, because 1 and 2, and I get all tongue-tied, and people can't believe that because I love to talk. Y'all, there ain't never a time that I'm not talking, unless I'm asleep. And my husband says I even talk in my sleep, so I guess that doesn't even count either. My dog's just looking at me like that right now, like, Mom, who are you talking to? So you see all those little scraggly edges. We're not worrying about those yet. If they drive you nuts, though, go ahead and cut them off. Now in this next section, I'm not going to do the ends. I'm just going to do the middle. I'm going to put 3 in the middle. And since we ended with a black on that end, we're going to start with a white here in the middle. Exact same thing, y'all. I'm taking that fabric, tying it between the sections. This one I start with a white because we've got that black clothespin right there beside it. And again, just alternating the fabric. Okay, now I'm just showing you again how I'm doing these clothespins. I'm doing 3 in the middle here because I skipped a part apparently. In the next section, I'm doing 3 on one end, 3 on the other end, right, button it right up against those bars right there. Now we're going to go in and do that last section, which is the 3 in the middle. Y'all, this is so easy. The most time-consuming thing of all of this is painting those clothespins. And if I was at home, I would have spray painted them. But I'm in a hotel, y'all know, and I can't spray paint. So I have to paint them by hand. So that's the most tedious part of this whole thing. Now we got all the way around. Now we're going to go up on that top wire, and we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. These I cut into 8-inch strips because I wanted them to be a little bit longer. And then at the end, I just go through and trim them down a little bit. Sorry I'm out of frame, y'all. I'm trying so hard. This is probably the best video I've done as far as not being so messy. Well, I did get paint on me first thing, but y'all know what I mean. And trying to be more in frame, but the way it was to tie these, it was almost impossible to be in frame for me to be able to tie them. So there, I'm just showing you that first section with the top, and we're going to finish all the way around it. This is what it all looks like finished. And you see there's a lot of long pieces. There's a lot of those little scraggly hair-like things. But for that, I just go through and give it a little haircut. Cut it down the way you want it to look. This is your project, y'all. Do it the way you want it. That's the best advice I can give you. Don't try to recreate something just perfectly like someone else does, because then it doesn't turn out right. And not because you didn't do it right, but because you didn't make it your own. Now, I just make this little bow. Y'all know how I am about bows. I folded it over on itself, and then I just kind of come up on each side with that ribbon. Tie it off with a pipe cleaner. If y'all have any advice on bows, please let me know because I'm desperate. Then I just cut off another piece of that ribbon, and I tie that on too with the same pipe cleaner because I'm just trying to give it some tails there. But yeah, y'all, if you can help me out on a bow, your girl would appreciate it. Just cut those excess pieces off. I fluff it up a little bit. Doesn't really help, but, you know. Every time I look at this wreath, though, and I look at that bow, I think, well, that, you know, for me, that's a pretty darn good bow. Now, for some others, this may not be a good bow. But for me, and knowing how I make bows, it was a pretty good bow. So now I'm just going to I get my wreath out, and I'm going to just glue that bow right there on one of them clothespins there. I just kind of figure out exactly where I want it. Just go ahead and glue it down. Now we're going to take some gingham ribbon. Y'all, I told you I can't talk. And we are going to go ahead and just make a little shoestring bow. And we're going to glue that right on top of that buffalo plaid. I loved the contrast between the two, so that's why I went ahead and did both different. Some people don't like to go that different, but to me it looked really cute. I loved how it turned out. So this is what it looks like, y'all. And here I have it displayed like a wreath. Well, I just propped it up on a shelf and put some stuff around it. But that's one way. Now, there's our other project, y'all. That's our little barn lantern that we're going to make, too. But then I decided, let's try it a different way. So I stuck it on my top tier of my 2-tiered tray that I have in here. Y'all, I love how it looks. Again, thank y'all so much for coming by and seeing me. If you like DIYs like this, go to my channel and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. Don't forget to like this video, comment, and share, y'all. Y'all are what's making this happen, not me. Y'all are watching, and I appreciate it. DIY number 2 is our little barn lantern. I guess that's what I'm calling it. I take these 4 little frames from the Dollar Tree, the ones that come with that metal and that clip, and I'm going to take them all apart. When you take that back off, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm getting ahead of myself. There's some chicken wire that I found about 3 or 4 months ago at the Dollar Tree, and I've never seen it since. I knew they had 4 packs left when I found it, and I knew to get them all, and I didn't, and now I can't find it again. So if y'all see it, snatch it, because it does not last. So I just take the backs off all 4 of those wreaths, or frames. Y'all help me. And here I'm going to take that metal. When you unscrew that metal clip, it takes it off that metal and takes that metal off that backing. Y'all, find a screwdriver. Don't use a knife like I did, but I couldn't find one, and I was too impatient to try and look around for one. So then I got them all separated, so I've got 4 piles there of metal and clips in the backs. Now, you need to take these little prongs out because it's already a little difficult to glue this together because of all the staples that I used. But if we'd have left those in, we wouldn't have been able, or it would have been even worse. I did one of these off camera just because I wanted to make sure I could do it right. But all I did was take my frame and kind of measure it on my chicken wire. Now, I'm using these little clipper things, and they used to be really good, but I've used them so much that I think I've worn them out. So I have to cut some of these more times than I wanted to. But anyway, be careful, y'all, when you're cutting this. It will scratch you. It will snag on your clothes. That's why I got my sleeves pulled up right there, because it'll snag all over you. But the look it gives, I just love the look. I'm going to use my little stapler there. I'm going to lay it out on my frame, the back side of the frame. And I'm, excuse me, y'all. I'm just going to figure out where to staple it. Now, y'all, I use a lot of staples in this. You probably don't need this many. I wanted to make sure this sucker stayed. I did not want it going anywhere. So then once I get that top done, I'm pulling as tight as I can to get this bottom. Now, it doesn't get real tight, but I was okay with that. It really didn't bother me. And then you just want to go all the way around the sides. On the corners, I do reinforce it a little bit better, which I don't know how you can do any better. My Lord, I probably used a whole sleeve of staples on this sucker. On just one frame. No, not really. But, I mean, I use a lot of staples, y'all. Messed one up. That's the beauty of a stapler. You just take that sucker out. There you go. That's what it looks like. Now, I'm going to take those little same wire clipper things, whatever they are, I'm not sure. I'm going to go all the way around and clip as close to that staple as I can while still keeping a hold on there. I do this on all 4 frames, and this is what they look like. Now, we're going to try to put them together like the little lantern. I use E6000, which is upside down, so I guess I thought y'all could read upside down. I put a dab of it on the ends and there in the middle. And then I'm going to use some hot glue. Y'all, E6000 and hot glue does not like to mix together. Or not for me. It might for everybody else. For me, it does not like it. You know, some things go together. Biscuits and gravy, peanut butter and jelly, things like that. But E6000 and hot glue, they do not want to be mixed. Then I just take it and I take my hot glue and I secure the inside of that. Don't worry about the glue. If there's a messy glob in there, don't worry about it, because we are going to cover that up. It was a little harder to glue together, like I said, because of the staples. I made one of these at Christmas time for my aunt as a little memory lantern, and it stapled really, it looked a lot better than this. I don't know what I was doing wrong there. Now I'm going to take these dowel rods, because I do not like how this looks. And I got these in a pack at Walmart, and I just cut them down to size. I measured them and cut them down to size with those little clipper things there. That's probably why my clippers don't work very well on wire, because I use them on everything else. And I'm just going to go all around the front and all those little corners there. And this also helps with the stability of the piece, y'all. It makes it be a lot more sturdy. So there they all are on the outside. Going to do the same exact thing on the inside corners. This is why I told you, don't worry about that glue because you're going to cover it up. Actually, we're going to put more glue and then cover it up. But I really don't use a whole lot. I just use a little thin bead, as thin as I can get it. Go all through the inside. This is what it looks like. Still looking a little rough, but we're going to make it look pretty. So there's white Waverly chalk paint. We're just going to paint all the way around it. I do get in the inside a little bit, but I'm not completely worried about the inside, y'all, because you can see it, but it looks rustic, and that's my decorating style, so I really don't worry about it. And y'all, the outside of a barn don't never look like what the inside of a barn does. People will paint their outside and then leave the inside just looking all crazy. You see what I mean there? There's just some distressed in there. It just looks distressed to me. Now I'm going to take this barn red. I'm going to go through and distress it a little bit. I get a little heavy-handed, but that's all right because we're going to go in with another color. Go all the way around it. Use any colors you want, y'all. It don't have to be red or any other color that I use. Make it your own. Then I take this steel from Waverly chalk paint and steel. I'm going to do the exact same thing that I just did with that red. I'm just going to put a little bit on my brush and dry brush it all the way around. And I love how it turns out. I was a little worried at first because you all know me, I don't use much color, and that red kind of scared me. But then after I got all that gray on there, see, don't that look cute? I loved how it turned out. So, if y'all watch my windmill video, you know I have fallen in love with this. I think it's Folk Art Metallic, and it's in copper. And it is one of my favorite colors. So I take it and I distress this chicken wire with it because I don't want it to look brand new. This is an old barn, remember? I know barns don't really have chicken wires on the outside, but this is my interpretation. I wish I'd have done the inside, but I didn't, and I'm not really that worried about it, honestly. So now this is where our metal pieces are going to come in. We're going to use 2 of the metal pieces off them frames. And on the sides of each of these metal pieces, they have like a little lip, and we're going to use that lip to our advantage. We're going to go ahead and glue these on, and then we'll make them meet in the middle, and we'll glue them together and make our little peak. So again, I used some E6000 and some hot glue. It looks like I'm mixing it, y'all, but I'm not. I promise. They're in 2 totally different spots. And I take that lip and I just glue it down there. This first one was a little hard, and that was only because I really didn't give it much time to dry. So it pops out later, and I have to go ahead and re-glue it, but it's no big deal. I take a bead of hot glue, reinforce it on the inside. I learned my lesson over on this side on how to glue it, and I glue it a different way, and it helps so much better. I just take that hot glue and go all the way across instead of just those 2 little, putting a little bit of hot glue on those rods. Now here we're going to put it together. We're just going to glue those 2 flat ends, those little lips together. Y'all be careful. Oh, hot glue and metal are hot. So y'all make sure you watch your fingers. See, that's where that piece popped off, but I get it fixed right up. Now we're going to take our copper, and at first, all I do is go through and swipe it. And it looks okay. It does look a little distressed. But then I decide I'm going to go through and pounce it. And that makes all the difference in the world. So I put some on my brush. There, you see that? It makes it look more galvanized than just, I don't know. I like how that turned out a lot better. And then after I get that copper on there, I take that same steel color. And I do the exact same thing. Just go through and pounce it on there. Y'all, this is a simple, easy project. To some, it may be too simple for a DIY video, but these are the kind of things that my subscribers like to see, the simple things. So that's why I go ahead and add things like this in. Now I took that wired garland, or I'm not sure what it is, made a little wreath, sticking it on the front. Again, simple, simple. You notice we didn't put a bottom on it because this is going to be the type of lantern that I can just stick something in and take it out because I like to switch around a lot. So I'm going to take my favorite ticking ribbon from the Dollar Tree, make a couple dovetails on it, put it on that bow, and y'all, that's it. It was so easy. To me, the hardest part about this was probably getting that chicken wire onto the frames and then gluing them together. Crafts and DIYs do not have to be hard. They really, truly don't. There you have it, y'all. Again, I styled it in many different ways. It's a wreath, but that doesn't mean you got to hang it up. I propped it up against the wall on that little shelf and put my little lantern up there with a fake candle in it. This one, I kind of did it as a little centerpiece and put my lantern in the middle. This one, I used a real candle. I suggest y'all don't do that. Sorry about my phone dinging, because it is very, very hot. Again, I just want to thank y'all for all of your love, all your support. Y'all mean the world to me, and I swear that is completely the truth. If you like this, please tell your friends, have them come over and subscribe, like my videos, share my videos, and comment. Y'all are what's making this happen, not me. Y'all are amazing. I hope you have a great day. God bless.